I'm grateful to be speaking in this second reading debate. I too greatly look forward to the maiden speech of the noble lady Baroness Nichols. Having said that, I don't believe this is a debate we should be having at all, and I don't believe this rather theatrical piece of legislation is necessary. In a world of sufficient resources, as has already been said, there would be comprehensive pre-sentence reports for everyone to which careful attention was paid in court. But if we have to prioritise PSRs, then it makes sense to prioritise those that we know are especially vulnerable or where there is evidence of disproportionate outcomes from the justice system. Would the noble Lord the Minister comment on why he thinks there was such shock at this apparent two-tier justice with regard to ethnicity, but not the other cohorts in the guidance, such as young adults and pregnant women? Does government believe the issues raised in the landmark report by the current Foreign Secretary almost 8 years ago are now a thing of the past? Is there no role for judges in mitigating the issues raised in that report? The use of the Sentencing Council guidelines to apparently feed a culture war is distressing. And the allegation of two-tier sentencing based around race, religion, belief or cultural background is so damaging to public understanding. This is already shaped so heavily by media headlines and the shocking and extreme cases of violent crimes, which are not the norm. Public understanding of why and how criminal sentences are handed down is severely lacking, as is evidenced in the Justice Select Committee in 2023 and a recent Prison Reform Trust report detailing a citizen jury exercise. My own experience of talking to teenagers in schools is that more information about sentencing results in more considered responses and a greater sense of engagement with what we are trying to achieve, which surely goes beyond mere punishment. My Lords, at the heart of the Christian gospel is a God who holds together both justice and mercy. We need a big, long-term vision. Surely long-term vision must be about transforming lives and communities, and that includes victims as well as offenders, recognising that many offenders are also victims. And if we are committed to the transformation of society, we need to take account of the impact of sentencing on families and the wider community. I'm not saying that people who commit crimes should not receive punishment, but I am saying that sentencing should be much more than this and give the best possible outcomes for society. In a recent judicial critique focused on sentence inflation, 4 former Lords Chief Justice, including the noble and learned Lord Thomas, highlight that people in prison are individuals, not statistics, and that, I quote, "The consequences of imprisonment on people's lives in prison and upon return to the community need to be considered in the whole." And they go on to say that evidence suggests that what happens during and after a sentence, including rehabilitative interventions and resettlement support, is more important than sentence length. If we are to treat people in the justice system as individuals, that surely includes taking into account people's circumstances, such as whether or not a woman is pregnant, and indeed their characteristics, such as neurodiversity, and I echo what's been said about characteristics. We cannot pretend that circumstances and characteristics do not matter. Wise sentencing is threatened by this am-dram politics, and this bill risks taking us backwards, not forwards. I firmly believe we need less political control over sentencing, not more. I would urge the noble Lord to revisit the House of Commons Justice Select Committee's 2023 recommendation of the establishment of an independent advisory body on sentencing, and I would propose an additional step: a commitment from the Treasury set out to Parliament where ministers propose to expand or lengthen custodial sentences against recommendations from the Advisory Board, thus resetting the relationship between politics and justice, including the public purse. There is more I could say, much more. But I will end with engaging with the government's own rationale for this legislation. The Justice Secretary says inequality in society is a matter for policy and not for the judiciary. How then will the government create an equal society over their term of office so that these guidelines become redundant?